Bienvenidos. Soy la Bruja Espinada, and I am here with a very special new moon in Gemini reading. So let's get started. Ooh, right off the back, we have the moon card. We have the moon card at the bottom of the deck. We have strength. We have the Ace of Pentacles, the Six of Swords, the Two of Cups, the Queen of Pentacles, the Lovers, the Five of Cups, Judgment, and the Wheel of the Wheel of Fortune, Justice, Death, and the Eight of Cups. I'm gonna stop here. I feel the need. There are a couple of cards that we could continue to pull, but I think we have a sufficient amount to start with. So I'm getting started. A good deal of introspection here. So a little bit about the new moon, as you have heard me say before, if you've watched my other readings on the new moon, this is the start of a new cycle, and it begins today. Okay, so today, and there's plenty of time before the sun goes down to set any intentions that you hope to manifest or to start to manifest by the time of the full moon. But this particular new moon, especially since it is in Gemini, has a lot of significance because Gemini is the twins in the astronomical world. And when we have the moon coming out in this, there is what you might hear as what is your sun sign and what is your rising sign, and then your moon sign. So all of these kind of intertwine together. When it comes to the new moon and you're setting the intentions of what you want, something to be very mindful during this particular or specific time frame is that you may have had plans set for yourself. May that have been because those are what your parents wanted, so that may have been an influence, what was always expected of you versus what it is that you truly want. And this being in Gemini, there's that twin aspect, there's that mirror aspect, there's that inner outer, that reflection type of introspection that's going on. What do you truly want? If you look in the mirror, to truly look at yourself, not just physically, but deep inside, what is it that you want for you? Not for who you're going to make proud, not for, who you owe. Who do you want to be for you? That is the question. And so the moon during this new moon in Gemini reading is very, very, very significant because the moon represents introspection, going within. It also has a lot to do with your intuition. If at this point that you've come so far in your journey, you've been feeling like you're starting to question a lot of things and you stuck it out for as long as you can, and yet you keep coming back to the same cycles of like, why am I putting up with this? Or why do I keep doing this to myself? Or why are we here again? This is the time to reflect, because it's the moon, but it's a new moon. There's going to be no reflection. This time, you don't have to look in the mirror, you have to look within. You have to look within and really ask, what is it that I truly want? It takes a lot of strength and courage to be able to do this. And trust me, I've been there. It takes a lot of strength to look in the eye of the beast and truly ask yourself that question. What do I want for myself? Depending on the culture that you were raised in, where guilt might be there, and that I feel like that's something that external guilt that becomes internalized, that I don't want to shame my family, I don't want to be looked down upon my friends, all that societal pressure. It takes a lot of strength to stand up against that, and it takes courage to say, I've looked within myself, and this is what I want, this is who I am, this is what I want to accomplish, achieve for me and not for anyone else. And it's easier said than done. That's why the strength card is here. You have a strength within you, but there's the caveat. You have the strength, but it also takes courage. Having strength does not equate to courage. You have a strength that thus you've kept going for as long as you have, but it takes courage to look in the mouth of the lion and say, I'm no longer afraid. I have the courage to use my strength. Oof, I felt like that hit a couple of hearts. Now, the beautiful thing with that is that it's followed by the Ace of Pentacles. A lot of the times, many of us that have grown up in a situation where finances may not have been the most stable, or even if we were raised in a place or in a way that the way society looks at you has a huge influence, doing what you want is not an exception, because doing what looks best is. Being able to have that monetary stability is the most important thing. Doing what you love doesn't necessarily mean that it comes without some type of monetary gain. But a huge part of that is not the do what you love and you'll get paid for it. No, it's the ace. We're learning, right? We're at a new point. And one of the things is that you will learn. Research, investigate. This doesn't mean that just give your entire time to doing that passionate thing in order to gain monetary success. That doesn't come without work. That's another thing too when it comes to the formation of these cards. You really have to be real with yourself when it comes with the moon. You have to look within. It's not just intuition, trusting your gut, or learning how to trust your gut, but also being real with yourself. Real with yourself and be like, okay, I know that there may not be any monetary or financial gain in this way, but if I go about it the right way, there might be. And be realistic, be like, well, they might pull in some monetary assistance, but it may not be what I would say would sustain me in the lifestyle that I want, right? This card is also that. It is that introspection, that real talk to yourself. Really, really being honest with yourself. And then again, followed by the strength card, having that courage to be like, you know what? I want to try at least. Nothing wrong with that. But you have to research. You have to study. You have to investigate in the different ways that you can utilize your passion for some type of stable and steady income, financial support, whatever it is that you're looking for. Okay? But this is something new. This is a shift. This is a change. There is going to be some type of resource coming into you, but being real with yourself that a little bit goes a long way. Don't knock a little bit and be appreciative of what you receive. That being said, we then have the Six of Swords. The Six of Swords is a card of overcoming struggle, of overcoming a battle, of overcoming some type of combative obstacle. It is success, it is victory. The way that the swords are placed is that reminder that yes, you look upon it with victory, but you also look upon it as a lesson. The things not to do, the things to do better, the things, understanding that sometimes things can be handled in a way that doesn't revolve around violence or combativeness. But of course, that's always after the fact, right? Now, we have the Two of Cups. We have the Two of Cups, and usually the Two of Cups is a signifier of a collaboration. Here it is shown, and it's actually very similar. It is a similar embrace to what we see with the Lovers. Now, similar meaning, it does have different interpretations. It could be in regards to a relationship. It could be in regards to a partnership, business, or romantic, a friendship, some type of collaboration. And then we see the snakes. Now the snakes is not a bad thing. The snakes is a sign of change, growth. It is also a symbolism of infinity. We have the indicator of peace, if you can see right there. I'm trying to maximize it where the camera lens is. Right here, it is a dove in the background. So there is no hostility here. This is an indicator of good vibrations. Now, you could, again, now that we are in that state of newness, you could be meeting people that may help you in the way that you're trying to change and grow. That are going to be presenting, or that you're going to meet along the avenues, or may help you find new avenues, or help you along the avenues, these new paths that you are or have been passionate about. So this is here. Just be open, but understand that you really need to work on trusting your intuition when it comes to partnerships, okay? Always have a plan A, B, C, D. If you can get the full alphabet, that's great. Plan this out. Be open to collaborate. Be open to partnership, whether it's romantic or otherwise. Okay, but have that knowledge both in regards to your resources and, if you're here looking for love, in regards to love, because love is a resource. Be open to many different possibilities. Okay, now we have the Queen of Pentacles. A lot of pentacles here, but we're not without cups. So it's not just monetary, it's also emotional and mental. Here we have the Queen of Pentacles. As you see, she is affectionate towards a rabbit signifying abundance, and there's a lot of growth in regards to the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles goes hand in hand with the Ace of Pentacles. To reach the level of the Queen, having that abundance, having that growth in their resources, they are knowledgeable in the way to handle those resources. Mindful spending, getting that emotional, what is it? Trying to overcome emotional spending so that you can have the best financial health possible. Again, that's all in regards to your resources, right? Um, Actually, this brings something up that I heard recently. So it's not just monetary, but again, if it's something like passions that you're going for, trusting your gut, having knowledge in how to manage these things. There was something that I did hear about, and it was, for example, it was in regards to the um, like talent agency field. And so it was more about acting, but this also goes hand in hand with like music. It goes hand in hand with like business connections. So, like, we're talking about collaborations. Um, it was said that people that work for like talent agencies, when they go and they rub elbows and they go and they do like networking events, there's one thing that they're mindful about is that they'll let you know who some of their connections are, but not who all of their connections are. Because if they put out on the table who all the connections are, then they erase themselves from the equation. So they purposely only let some cards show, like, so for example, like, oh, I've got connections everywhere, great, but they only let like one name slip, because then if they take themselves out of that, there is no need for them, and so they erase themselves out of the equation. So in order to be significant and in order to receive some type of compensation for the resources that they have, they've learned how to manage that. And so they don't just show all their cards, but you have to reach out to them and be like, hey, you know what? If you let me be your agent and pay me a certain percentage, I could put you in other connections and see how that flows. So it seems kind of shady, and it kind of is, but it's a resource. Who you know is a resource. Who other people know is a resource. And I've mentioned this before. This is the universe is a very give take. If you keep taking, and you don't give back, you will no longer receive, which leads to hoarding. And then hoarding doesn't keep that energy flowing. This is something you must learn. You got to trust your gut and who to trust, especially when you're making any type of collaboration. So, the Queen of Pentacles, again, is very mindful and knowledgeable on how to work their abundance so that abundance keeps working for them, which is why they are the queen. So, again, this is a learning experience. Here we are, something new. So I'm going to put a pause here before I continue. So, these two highlight, the Two of Cups and the Lover's card, highlight very strongly the Gemini aspect of two different beings and how they have that interaction, right? So I was going somewhere with this. This is a huge learning experience. Again, it's a mirror. What is it that you truly want? What is it that you want from a partnership? What is it that you want from a collaboration? What is it that you truly want for yourself? Now, we're going to we're shifting into things that are wanted, and this is all a lesson, right? So as we start to shift, we go into the Lovers. Again, this could be in regards to love. It could be in regards to partnership. It can be in regards to a collaboration. It depends on your situation. Now, this is why this is important. With the Lovers, just knowing what that card signifies, you are following it with the Five of Cups. a card of emotion, a card of feelings. And the Five of Cups, we've had this card before. And this person is, and I think I made the statement of crying over spilt wine. So that's what we see here in this card. Someone is crying over 3 glasses of spilt wine without acknowledgement to the 2 glasses that are left on the table, right? Now, this card is a very, very important card. This is a huge lesson card, huge lesson card. And 5 is the number of great change. That's why they're lessons. 5 indicates a change in mental perception. There's many people that have lost things, whether to life-ending situations, whether to them making a mistake, making a bad choice, other people making bad choices. But here's where the lesson comes in. Remembering what you have and not taking advantage of what it is that you have. There's people that lose things that are what they truly wanted, and they don't appreciate what it is that they have left or what was there all along. The support that they had, and why? Because they preferred what they wanted versus what they had. If you've been taken advantage of, it's recognizing that in someone else. Recognizing when someone does not look at you and appreciate you the way that you should be. And that's also vice versa, of not appreciating those that have always been there because they're not what you initially wanted. And then it's not appreciated until it's gone. So, as you proceed forward, whether it's in work, whether it's in love, whether it's in some type of friendship, be mindful of what type of partnership you have moving forward. Don't let go of the support that you've had all along and take advantage of it. Okay, it's a huge lesson, especially when this is a major shift in deciding what it is that you want. This is a karmic lesson, which is why it's a huge change card. It's a karmic lesson card. That's why number 5, very, very important number. Major change. You are the only one that can understand the judgment of that. That's why it's karmic, okay? So this is my progression of explaining. So, huge karmic lesson, and then we have the judgment card. Use your best discernment. Now, this person is in what we call in yoga, the full cow face pose, which is one that really stretches out the body, stretches out the hips, stretches out the shoulders, the arms, stretches out the entire body, really. And they're burying their face to the sun of hope and everything. And understanding that this is a karmic lesson and this is the judgment card. As you move forward with the decisions that you make, be mindful of how it affects other people. Be very, very mindful. Now, we're shown here because it's followed by the justice card, is that everyone gets their comeuppance in the end. Everyone. Not just you, not just the person that caused you harm, or because if you caused harm, it's coming back to you too. None of us is innocent in this world. But judgment and justice, back to back, right after the Five of Cups, is a very, very, very huge sign, because then we're presented with death. Now, again, judgment. It is not just your turn to judge, but for others to judge you. So mind you, that appreciation card. Be mindful of the way that you appreciate or grateful, things like that. Be mindful. Because justice will be served. Now, that's not saying that you're doing anything wrong, and hopefully you're not. But you're making wise choices moving forward, because those who have wronged you, you will have your justice. But if you've wronged anyone else, justice will come swiftly for you. Death does not necessarily indicate the ending of life, but it comes for an ending of a cycle. It comes from an ending of a behavior. It comes for an ending of a collaboration, partnership, relationship. It all has to do with the way you move forward. So let's circle back to the beginning. New moon in Gemini, new lunar cycle. Gemini being a reflection, looking within, understanding what you truly want. The moon card, introspection. What was the other word? It was another I word. Intuition. Intuition. You are in a state currently where you want and need a change and are willing to do it. Now you're setting your intentions, right? You know what, that's it. I'm done with all these things. I need something new. This is a huge lesson. You need to have the courage to face your inner self, right? And as you are learning new things and maneuvering how to move forward, you must reflect on the past and what it took to make this change as you move forward. You will have a time to really analyze your partnerships and whether they're going to be beneficial for one another, in order to ascertain this level of stability that you want to achieve to be genuinely happy. And in these partnerships, there are going to be understanding of or there will be reflections of what has been lost, what will be lost, what will be cut out, and what remains. You must use your discernment to move forward in the best way possible, not just for yourself, but for the universe, right? And it's easier said than done, but understanding that selfish choices can bite you in the ass. They can. But mind you, this is why the moon is here. Selfish, not because someone else calls you selfish for wanting to be happy, but making that discernment. If you're trying to take someone's partner, that's not exactly the best. If someone already left your partnership because it was not working for them, whether it's work, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a relationship, make sure that that ended first, so that none of that residual bad karma is on your doorstep. Use your judgment to ensure that you are clear of any bad karma. Okay? You want good karma. You don't want bad karma. So, that being said, death. Death, like the tower, signifies a change, the end of a cycle. Something that has completed its term to make way for something new. Now, we're followed with the Eight of Cups. Love the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups is that indicator of just pick one. Just pick one. Pick something. Sometimes we don't know, when we're ready for that change, we don't know what to choose because we have an interest in so many different things. And regardless of the fact that there are so many choices, you will be successful. But just pick one. Start with one. You don't gotta gobble them up all at the same time. Start with one. Pick one. And we have the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune is, again, in regards to cycle, but it also has a lot to do in tying with the Eight of Cups. It doesn't matter which one you pick, it's going to restart the Wheel of Fortune, no matter which one. And it can go any which way. But you just got to pick one in order for the Wheel of Fortune to do its job. Be mindful in your discernment. Start to learn to trust your gut to make that right choice. And justice will be in your favor. So, the Wheel of Fortune is ready to start as soon as you pick. Don't wait too long on making that decision. I'm glad to go ahead and pick some more cards from at the bottom of the deck. So we have the World card. The World card is just that reminder that this is your world. Everyone else is just actors playing in it, right? They're they're just other people in your story. How do you want your world to be? It's not going to be perfect, but we do have to be mindful and understand that our world is only happier if we take into consideration that other lives are other worlds. Okay? And don't fall prey to your bad habits. You have the devil. Do not fall prey to your bad habits. You know what your bad habits are. You give in to them very easily. Do not fall prey to your bad habits. Only you are your own devil. You allow yourself to give in to your bad habits. Only you have the ability to unchain yourself from them. I'm going to go ahead and stop there. Now, quick little lesson before I move forward. The Mayas, when they want to do something new or make a decision, they think long and hard about the decision and the choices that are made and the choices that are agreed upon is a community thing. Because when they make a decision and for a choice, they want to ensure that there will be no bad outcomes, not just for their community, but for the world for the next 500 years. So, that's a huge undertaking to understand that ensuring that the choices that you make, while are meant to make you happy, will ensure that they will not cause harm to others. So as you begin to change And that's making a difference, right? And making sure that it's not on the concept of like, I'm disappointing somebody. Depends on what it is, right? This is all about using your discernment to make that decision, which is why the devil's here. Don't fall prey to your bad habits, and don't let your bad habits make the decision, lest you want karmic justice. So let's go ahead, start to finish this out. Mighty Fates, what lesson do you have to add on? What lesson do you have to add on to this reading? One card, if you would. One card, if you will, please. Mighty Fates, what lesson do you have? We have two. Ascension and manifest. So let's see. Ascension. This card is a statement to all of the work you have done. It is a nod from the universe that your efforts are seen and are being rewarded. Things are moving forward and you will continue to progress and reach a higher state of consciousness as well as earthly success. This card can also be encouraging you to deepen your spiritual practices and work toward alignment with the highest codes of your being. Life is all about moving and reaching our true potential. You are well on your way. Keep going. On the flip side, this card can also indicate an imbalance around spiritual practice. Sometimes we can become completely reliant on all things spiritual and may ignore the earthly plane and real issues. This is referred to as spiritual bypassing. Another form this takes is continuing to focus on clearing and up-leveling, but not integrating. It can become an addiction and all about moving on to the next thing. And we think it's okay because it is spiritual in nature. But in reality, it can be disempowering. If this resonates with you, work on grounding yourself and perhaps slow down. Pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Now we have manifest. Here we go. Manifest. This card signals a period of time where your manifestation work could be extra potent. What you have been working toward is on its way to you. If you feel anxious or obsessive, it is time to release it and let the universe work some magic. When we are working on manifesting, it is important that we do the following. Take notes. We must be clear on what we want, not what we don't want. We imagine and visualize ourselves experiencing it. This means tapping into the feelings we would have if we did have it. After we have focused on it long enough, we must release it so it can be manifested. This card asks you to examine your process. Are you lacking clarity in your desires? Are you sending the universe mixed signals by focusing on what you don't want or what you lack? Are you too focused? Reflect on how you show up for your manifesting practice and make any adjustments that need to be made. And taking these lessons into consideration. Not being wholeheartedly selfish, but being mindful on how your choices can impact others. Mighty animal spirit guides, please provide me with a lesson. We have the cow spirit. Miracles are endless. So let's see. Here we go. You are at a beautiful point in your life today. For your needs are being met effortlessly and in so many ways. Fully embrace this truth by focusing on all you have right now, including the positive relationships that sustain you. The work you are proud to do to contribute to the world, and the activities that inspire you and nourish your soul. Cow Spirit nudges you to pay attention because this is the perfect time to focus on the choices, actions, and behaviors that you know feed your soul and bring your heart contentment. Now is also the time when you will see many of your projects and commitments that were set in motion in the past begin to yield valuable gifts that will bring you joy and love and sustain you for a long time to come. Stay positive and share your well-being with others. The more you share, the more you will manifest. So be generous. Cow Spirit promises you will never run out of miracles. I don't make this shit up. Cow Spirit asks you to pay attention to how you nourish your mind. Your body and spirit, because right now you are wobbling around like a newborn calf on its unsteady legs. Perhaps you've been spending too much time distracting yourself on the internet or obsessing over a relationship or choosing to eat food that is not healthy. Whatever it is, you're being nudged to assess how you are looking after your needs. Remember, the universe has a way of reflecting back to you the events and conditions that match how you treat yourself. Cow Spirit reminds you that the universe wants to give you the very best, but needs you to do your part to participate and nourish your well-being. Heed her message, and everything will shift in your favor. It's that being mindful. You can want, and there's nothing in wanting great things, but never at the expense of others. And I don't make this shit up. So, I sincerely hope that this helps, and I'll see you guys